E3 is almost upon us again, and as we navigate a minefield of leaks ahead of the big show, we've set about figuring out what our most wanted games are for this year's showing in La La Land. This time around we've gone with a couple of titles that have already been revealed or announced we'd like to see more of, and one that's more of an outside bet to put in an appearance. We haven't gone for any nebulous, completely mad choices like George R.R. Martin's purported From Software game, the Initiative's new one, or Half-Life 3, because they either don't have a proper title, we have no idea what they are, or they're never ever going to happen. So without further ado, here are our top picks for E3 2019. Unannounced surprises and unexpected stuff notwithstanding, of course.
One of E3 2018's biggest disappointments was quite clearly the no-show of Square Enix's Marvel's Avengers project. It's a game we've been wildly anticipating for quite some time now, and been faced with no-show after no-show. No show, no more though, folks, as Square Enix has officially confirmed it will show up at this year's E3. Heck, there's even a rumour going around that we could see it released before March 2020. With two big studios, Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Montreal, heading up the project, with their collaboration aiming to create, and I quote, a Game of the Year level title, who can't be a little bit excited over that?
Halo 5 was a bit of a letdown to say the least. The campaign was disappointing, with the Master Chief only making an appearance in a third of the missions, and the multiplayer added advanced movement mechanics which inevitably took away from Halo's core multiplayer that many grew to love. 343 Industries seems to be working towards bringing Halo back to what made fans love the series in the first place, with the game being focused on the Chief, split screen making a return, and more. With it being a big show for Microsoft this year, that hopefully might mean that we'll see the first bit of gameplay from Halo Infinite on their stage.
As the first RPG that swept me up in its sprawling world during my formative years, I've always had a soft spot for Final Fantasy VII, so obviously the upcoming remake is a compelling proposition. Moody Cloud Strife and his buddies battling Sephiroth and the might of Shinra, with the power of PlayStation 4 pumping up the visual fidelity to insane levels of loveliness. This can't help but be a winner, right? Granted, the episodic structure isn't a particularly encouraging aspect, and the game has been delayed more times than the next Game of Thrones book, but we're all still excited. Bring it on, Square Enix. Bring it on.
Watch Dogs 2 was an excellent video game. It really was. The tone, the open world, the gadgets, the sense of humour, Ubisoft Montreal absolutely nailed it. They nailed it, I tells thee. So when Watch Dogs Legion leaked this week, we were pretty stoked. Sure, we don't know a lot about it at the moment, but a leak this week apparently revealed it will be set in London in a post-Brexit world, and will seemingly enable you to play as any NPC. In terms of ambition, Watch Dogs Legion seems to be trying to raise the game dramatically. Sure, that was only a leak, but the confirmation of Watch Dogs Legion a few days later came with the caption, "God save the NPCs." So if it's not London, we'll eat our digital black hat. Black hat, get it? Like hackers and stuff. You get it, you get it.
It has been nearly 10 years since we've had a mainline Fable title, and after Lionhead Studios shut down, it seemed as though we might never see the series return. However, Microsoft still do own the rights to Fable, and it has been rumours galore as of recent that the Forza Horizon developers Playground Games has now taken the mantle to continue the series by developing Fable 4. With Microsoft boasting that this will be its biggest E3 ever, you can't help but hope that this means we'll see Fable making a triumphant return.
Some of the finest Star Wars games in the galaxy have been single-player affairs, so you can colour as excited for Titanfall developer Respawn Entertainment getting its hands on the licence for a story-driven outing. After all, the studio proved what it can do when it comes to narrative in Titanfall 2's campaign, especially with the outstanding Effects and Cause mission. Give us more of that sort of innovation, but with the power of the Force and meaty lightsaber combat, and you have our attention. The hook of a Jedi on the run following the initiation of Order 66 is an intriguing one, so if Respawn can stick the landing, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order could be something special.
Honestly, I'd much rather sit here and say I want a new Mass Effect rather than a new Dragon Age title, because I absolutely adore Mass Effect, and it's absolutely true. But let's be realistic here. BioWare is already working on a new Dragon Age title. We know that. Heck, they've even technically announced it, but we want them to fully unveil it at this year's show. You know, gameplay and all, not some CGI trailer. So although it's already been announced, we want BioWare to actually show it off this year. Yes, we know EA doesn't have a stage show at this year's E3, but that shouldn't stop them from being on Microsoft's stage. I mean, that's exactly where you'll find Star Wars: The Jedi Fallen Order. So why not a surprise appearance for Dragon Age 4 too, eh?
absolutely no one has any clue what Square Enix's new title Outriders might be. After scrolling through the official Twitter account, it looks as though it could be a new survival game that focuses on a group of humans who've left Earth to go to a new planet called Ina in a last-ditch effort to try and save humanity. Before the teaser video was posted, the last tweet was about how the crew have landed safely and are now dismantling the ship to start building a new home, so perhaps it's got some world building in there too. Whatever Outriders might be, we can't wait to find out more from Square Enix at E3.
Oh, Sam Fisher, where art thou? It's been far too long, and it's at the point now where this protracted wait for a new Splinter Cell game is getting a bit silly. With Snake on a seemingly indefinite hiatus, there's never been a better time for Fisher to don his skin-tight stealth suit and iconic green night vision goggles once more and stalk the shadows. Last time that happened was in 2013 with Splinter Cell Blacklist, almost 6 years ago. I've aged horribly since then, and I blame it entirely on the lack of a new Splinter Cell game. And no, Fisher's cameo in Ghost Recon Wildlands doesn't count, even though it did have the voice of Michael Ironside. We've been burned before by the lack of a Splinter Cell announcement when there should have been one, so this is by no means a guarantee for E3 2019. But come on Ubisoft, do the right thing, and get Michael Ironside back while you're at it, will you?
And last but definitely not least, the game we're all looking forward to seeing more of at this year's E3 is Cyberpunk 2077, which should surprise absolutely none of you. None of you! CD Projekt Red's Cyberpunk 2077 was the star of the show during last year's E3, and we expect this year to be no different. The Witcher 3 team seems to have taken its open world choice and consequence formula and intriguing characters and turned the dial all the way up to 11. While the game won't be playable at this year's show, just being able to get another glimpse at the neon-soaked metropolis of Night City once more, but this time in a new light, is just one hell of a tantalising prospect.
So those are the games we're excited for and hoping will make an appearance at E3 this year. Some titles on this list have already been confirmed, whilst others are still just rumours. Let us know in the comments down below the games you hope to see at E3 or the games that you would like to see at E3. As per usual, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Rosero Network for more gaming content. See you next time, folks.